Hey, welcome back to the Big Red Zone. We are very excited for today's show. Remember, new episodes come out every Wednesday. You can find us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you subscribe. Quest to 100 subscribers on YouTube is on. Make sure you smash that like button and put on the little notifications thing to know when all our episodes come out. Leave a rating on iTunes and tell a friend. We have a big show. Matt Gedman is here, former baseball player and coach of the Brockton Rocks. We're going to talk about his career, the Red Sox, spring training, big day on the first day of NFL free agency for the Patriots, and, of course, March Madness. All that and more on this week's episode of the Big Red Zone. Welcome to the podcast. This is the Big Red Zone. I'm your host, Big Red. As always, I'm joined by Danny Football.
Yo.
Producer John. And today I have a very special guest. My good friend, Getty. Matt Gedman is here. Welcome, Getty.
Steve-O, what's going on?
How we doing?
Thanks for having me on. It's good, man. I know you've been talking about this all summer. I didn't know it was a real thing, and here we are.
It's always a pleasure to see your face, Getty.
I'm sure.
I got to know Getty over the last summer. He was coaching at the Brockton Rocks. Fortunately, he's going back. He was there for just the season. He's going back to Pittsfield this summer. I think I heard that right. If not, I'm breaking the news now. I think that's old news. But he also coaches at Trinity. He's a baseball coach assistant, and he also is an assistant on the hockey team, which I didn't know until in the summer. But very happy to have you on, Getty.
Appreciate it, Steve. It's good to be here. It's good to see you. So let's get this thing rolling.
So, for all who don't know, Getty was a former professional baseball player. Was in the Red Sox minors. So is there anything that stands out to you, like looking back, because you got to actually play for your home, like growing up, your home team. So like, tell me about that, growing up a Red Sox fan and being able to play in the farm system for the Red Sox.
Yeah, I mean, it was special. It's just, my dad having played in the big leagues for the Red Sox and, growing up going to the games in 2004, they broke the curse. And it was the coolest thing about it is nowadays, like when I was done playing, like I knew I was never going to get there. It was kind of like another, 4 or 5 years gap in life where you got to keep playing baseball. And I mean, the dream's always a chance, but for me, just playing with guys like Mookie Betts, Blake Swihart, and, so many other guys, you see what their talent level is. And it's, I knew the end wasn't going to be, a 10-year big league career like my father had. But when I was done playing, kind of following those guys, and you're rooting for the Red Sox, not only because you're, a hometown guy and you grew up 30 minutes from the park, but also, I got to play with Mookie Betts. He was a special kid, special player, and kind of like a Jackie Bradley, a Travis Shaw, guys like that, where good guys, and you're genuinely rooting for their success along with the team. So it was kind of double whammy in that when people say like, how was this guy? And like I said, Mookie, he's a kid who's so easy to root for because he's just as good a person as he is a baseball player. So in that aspect, it was a pretty special thing.
So you came up in like a golden age for the Red Sox minor system. Like you got to play with Mookie, like you said, Jackie. Did you play with Benny?
No, he was. I think he was drafted 2013 or something like that. I got released after the 2014 season, so he was probably in. I was in A-ball or high A-ball in Carolina in 2013, 14. So I just missed him by probably a year or two.
But you got to play, like you said, you're talking about playing with Mookie, and obviously we're happy to see him succeed with the Dodgers, but it sucks to see him go. How is it playing with him and just getting to see like the early stages of that great career, like the great career he's about to have, he's having and is continuing to have?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I played with him in Lowell in 2011. He was a pup, he was 19 years old, 18 years old, and then and the year he kind of took off was, the first year in Lowell, he had no homers. He had a bunch of doubles, but really didn't have like the power that he has nowadays. So seeing him kind of just mature into, from a kid almost into like, a young adult. And now the man he is now, he's got a daughter. And that year he came up to Salem, which is high A from Greenville. He was down there in low A. He came up after the All-Star break and hit 350 with 8 homers and, half the season. We won a championship that year. And he was a big part of it. So, I mean, the point in August, I had trouble getting out of bed. My body was so sore. He would go across the street to the Y and play pickup basketball for 2 hours and then come to the park. So that's the point when you know something's a little different with this guy.
Now, after your playing career, you went and started coaching. Did you start coaching right away? I know I know you've been coaching in the Futures League for a while, and you coached at Trinity for a good amount of time. What was the next step right after you finished playing?
So I got released in January. So obviously spring training, you head down in February, so I didn't really have plans. I latched on with Noble and Greeno school in Dedham, prep school in Dedham, Mass. Rob Murray gave me the opportunity there. He's been there football, baseball, and assistant AD, I think, for, 10 years now probably. So I coached them, and then I called Tom Conley, who, he was out in Pittsfield, and I said, hey, I'm looking for, summer gig, trying to get into the college stuff, see what I like better, high school, college, AAU, whatever it may be. And so he gave me that opportunity in the summer. I was on Pittsfield as the assistant, and then came to Trinity, where I'm at now, 2016, I guess it was. So that's kind of just how, rolled into high school, into summer ball, into college. And, it's a good spot here. I work with Brian Adamski and Jason Safarsky, who's a former Brockton Rocks coach. So really good coaching staff in terms of personalities. And the hockey guys kind of took me on last year. And same thing, great group of guys. And it's very comfortable and, pretty good spot to be at.
Did you play hockey growing up? I didn't really, you told me that. I didn't know that about you, but you told me that you were coaching hockey, and I was like, I didn't really know that you played, or it's surprising. Did you play growing up?
Yeah, I was a goalie. I played at probably from the time I was 6, 7. Actually, when I went to UMass, I played both sports for almost 2 years. I was, third string goalie there. My role in the baseball team was a little bigger than the hockey one, but John Quick left. They were looking for, another guy. He left kind of late. So I say I took his spot, but I only really took like his locker stall. And besides that, I didn't do too much. I got into a game or two, kind of like mop up time, but it was really hard trying to juggle both. So I had to make a decision, and, baseball was the one that, was obviously going to be better for me at the time.
Did you know Quick personally, or?
I met him a handful of times. So he went to Avon Old Farms, and then when he went to UMass, he played there for 2 years. Mm-hmm. So my freshman year would have been his junior year, but he had signed and gone on. So, he came back once in a while to see the guys, and I met him through that. But I've heard some good stories about him.
I forgot he was a UMass guy. That's crazy.
Danny's a big hockey guy. He's a bit UMass Lowell, Riverhawks all the way, and big hockey guy. And obviously we talked to you in Brockton. You're also, you came from Pittsfield, you coached in Pittsfield the last few years. But I know Brockton was your favorite between all the Futures Leagues. We had a good time. But the Futures League we've talked about on the show because we've all worked there and been involved with it. Tell me a little bit about your experience with the Futures League. I know it's a great opportunity and great space, but what's your experience with it?
It's been good. I mean, watching the league evolve, over the years, it kind of juggled around whether they had, 6 teams, 10 teams. But it got to the point, where the Pittsfield, commutes are pretty tough going to Martha's Vineyard or even Brockton, on a weekday, you hit that traffic. And so this past summer, it's been a little better in terms of having an hour ride, listening to guys bitch about an hour and a half ride in Pittsfield. It's 3.5 there, 3 back. So that probably was the biggest change for this summer. But, seeing some of the kids, like we had Cade Cavalli a couple years ago. He was a 22nd or 23rd overall pick out of Oklahoma for the Nationals this past year. I mean, the guys we had this summer, the Geloff brothers are in Brockton. They both have potential, good baseball futures. And I think it's a really cool idea where they allow those high school guys to come in. So schools like Vanderbilt, Oklahoma State, they start sending their guys. They trust you with their guys, and you kind of get to watch those guys. Even the BC guys we had this year, they had a great start to the year. Went down that crazy game against Auburn. They were down 9-1, 2 outs in the ninth inning, and came back and won. So just keeping tabs on guys and watching guys' careers is probably the most rewarding thing.
Yeah, the Futures League is, like you said, I love how it's evolved and like how it started off. Like, we had some good talent, but you'd have like maybe one or a couple guys in like good high Division I baseball, and now it's like every team has some like top talent. Like, BC is sending more and more guys to the Futures League. Florida is sending a lot of more guys, and it's just fun to see all these like top talent guys come in the league. And we talk about on the show, we've had a couple of former Brockton Rocks guys, Jake Fishman and Zach Short, come on the show, and they're making Shorty was traded to the Tigers, and he's on the 40-man, so hopefully he makes an appearance this year. And Jake actually got into some spring training time, so it's nice to see those guys, like you said, keep tabs on them and seeing how they go up through the system and hopefully make it. We had Andy on, obviously. You're pretty good friends with Andy over the last few years. What was it like coaching with him, and maybe like some of the differences from your time in Pittsfield versus in Brockton?
Andy's a good dude. I've known him from across the ways, competing against him. And this summer, for him and Tom taking me on board where, Pittsfield season canceled. It's fun. Andy's a really good baseball guy, and it was kind of, he could bounce if he had questions, but for the most part, I put my input in where I thought something, in terms of a lineup or an arm, but, it was his show to run. I was kind of, his sidekick if he had any questions but this summer I enjoyed just working, with the hitters and it's been his team for, 3 or 4 years. So, to kind of watch him do his thing. He's way more organized than me. I know he gets up and does his lineup at like 7 in the morning. Sometimes I rush to get it out there before game time. But
try like 1 in the morning. He does it at like 1 in the morning the night before. He has the lineup ready before he even leaves.
Yeah, he used to text me at like 6 in the morning and ask for my lineup that day. I'm like, dude, I haven't even thought about it. But.
So obviously last year you were in Brockton, like you said, because of Pittsfield didn't have a season. This year you're back in Pittsfield. Are you go back? I know you're going to miss seeing myself and Tom every day, but are you looking forward to going back to Pittsfield? And if so, what reason?
What was the last part?
What are you doing to get with the roster and stuff like that, getting ready for the season?
The roster's pretty much complete. So, I'm definitely going to miss the post-game Subway every night. That you provided us.
The cookies?
Yeah, the cookies, they were good. They don't help.
The little Chick-fil-A?
Yeah, I was going to say, Steve was the big Chick-fil-A guy last season.
Chick-fil-A?
Yeah, Chick-fil-A once a week. The rest was like Italian BMT from Subway. We had 40,000 bags of potato chips and everything because everyone just laying all over the place. But no, I'm looking forward to Pittsfield. Like I said, the roster's pretty much done, and it's it's a spot where I like the city. It's got like a different feel to it. It's not like Brockton and North Shore, like where it's city. It's kind of like a West Virginia vibe almost. Like there's the center of town's got some good strips, some good restaurants. People come out to the games that they really enjoy. The beer garden's always popping. You got a certain amount of fans that are there, every night, and you start to recognize faces throughout the year. So just for them, I think it'll be good for baseball to be back. And the only thing I'm not looking forward to, like I said, is those bus trips. But besides that, fresh start for them, and hopefully things can, go smoothly as last summer where, there's no hiccups in the season. Because once you're on a bus with all those guys, if something happens, it's kind of, it's not good news. But last season was crazy that we were able to escape through with, no hiccups.
Do you think they're going to do the travel yourself? Or are they going back to buses? That's just more of a curious.
Yeah, I mean, some places could. I know, Tom always had a bus for those guys. And the most part, we had 20 guys on the bus or so. But Pittsfield's just too tough, man. I mean, if you're going to Brockton and it's 3.5 hours to expect those guys to drive. I know Westfield did it a little bit, but even, guys I knew on that team towards, the middle of the season, like, this is crazy. So it's a lot of miles on some of those cars that, college kids drive around 2005, Jeep Cherokees. I remember Buddy Dwayne was traveling last summer from, Central to Brockton. He's like, my Jeep has 200,000 miles on it. He's like, this isn't going to fly much longer. So maybe some of the short trips, like a Westfield or, stuff up in that area. Worcester's like an hour 40, but, once we start heading down your way, it's a tough ask for the guys.
Steve was telling me about it earlier. Do you want to break down the 4th of July game in Pittsfield for me?
Yeah, just pure mayhem. Havoc. Ask Tom Tracy about that. Tom,
one of the best
we played
injections
Brockton. It was really big game. Yeah, he came in to yell at the umpire and throw his helmet. And he somehow pulled the athleticism out of him and do a somersault as he was going to check the helmet. So, yeah, I mean, it's crazy. They do a parade, and we've had a float in the past. So if you're like 4th in line, it's not bad. You get there at 8, you have to wait around. Last time we had a game, it was like 93 out, and we were on this float from 8:30 in the morning until like 1, because we were like 137th in line on 140. So usually on July 4th, we get a crowd of about 5,500 people. And, you try to play your A lineup. I mean, if you have 18 position players, so that night you run out the best you got. And the kids were just wiped by the time the game started. We lost like 9-0 in front of 5,500 people. But that was a tough one. We've had some good ones over the years, though. I mean, the people start celebrating their 4th of July, kind of early in the day. So we had a guy run into the field, steal a base one year. But I mean, it's great. It's great for the kids because they get to enjoy it, and it feels like they're playing at a Big 12 conference. I had a kid, Thomas Hughes. He was playing at Oklahoma, and he was one of the guys I wanted to get in the lineup. But he said to me, he goes, play this guy instead, or it was a kid from a D3 school who he was really close with, and he said, I'm fortunate to be able to play in front of the crowds like this all the time. So, for those smaller D3, D2 school guys, sometimes it's honestly the biggest crowd they get to play in front of. But it's a good day for sure.
Yeah, it gets a little rowdy in the 4th of July.
Yeah, they don't mess around.
Well, I'm looking forward. I talked to Tom the other day, and we got to talk to him about the upcoming season. But I'll definitely be there, if anything, when Pittsfield comes to town. Always a pleasure to see my good friend Getty.
Bring your $5 scratch ticket.
That's right.
I don't tip the club. I just give them a scratch ticket once a month.
Sometimes it hits, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, it wasn't a good summer scratchy wise.
No, it wasn't a good scratchy summer. It was a good Subway summer, but it wasn't a good scratchy summer.
You ain't lying.
So, staying with baseball with the Red Sox, we're going back to them. Is there anyone that you've been surprised with this offseason? Day football, and I've kind of talked about it last week, but I'm interested to see what you think, being the baseball connoisseur that you are. What is?
Did we lose him? All right, welcome to 2 Minutes of Roughing. This is a hockey podcast now. I got my guest Gedman here. We're ready to go. Jonathan Quick. Tell me about Jonathan Quick.
Jonathan Quick is better goalie than I was. That's all I pretty much know about him. I get some good stories about him and having a couple beers at a party one night, but I don't think he asked us to guard his beers for him one time, and some kid came over and grabbed the beer out of the box, and we said, those are Quick's beers. He asked us, to watch him for him. He goes, those aren't Quick's beers, they're mine. He's been stealing from me all night. So,
what year did you graduate?
2011.
Okay. Damn. I honestly forgot he went to UMass. That's crazy. They have those hidden gems. They're turning into a hockey school. That's right.
there's no way to transition back. But looking at the Red Sox, Getty, is there anyone that surprised you so far, or any standouts from spring training that you've seen so far?
If I'm being honest with you, I haven't really watched, too much of the spring stuff. I've been checking in on it. My dad's down there. He's a AAA coach or hitting coach, so he's been with the guys. We kind of started up here at Trinity 2 weeks ago. We've been doing pods to kind of stay out of the, contact tracing. If something does pop off. So we've been out on the field from like 8 to 5 every day. So I checked the box scores a little bit. I like the Enrique Hernandez or Kiki Hernandez.
Yeah.
I know he started off a lot. I think he's a good addition. He can play infield, outfield. Devers is going to hit. I mean, Bogarts is going to hit. JD is going to hit. So I think it just kind of, if they can put together enough pieces to have a competitive rotation with, Sale being hurt. And so I haven't really been able to follow, how their staff is doing. But for them, that's going to be the biggest key. If they can have an ERA, 4 or 5 or so, they're going to hit enough to win games. It comes down to when Sale gets back and, how Eddie Rodriguez is this year for not playing last year. And they have some guys to do it. And then obviously the bullpen's a question. There's a lot of names that a lot of, local fans aren't familiar with. So it could go either way, but the division they play in is loaded this year. I mean, the Yankees don't skip a beat. The Rays, I know they lost Snell, but they're back. The Blue Jays made some big time additions. And then you got the Orioles who, I don't even know how you can be positive as an Orioles fan heading into the season. You got to play those teams.
They beat us.
They're Vegas over under. Yeah, I'm curious what the Orioles Vegas win-loss total is. It's probably 40. You know what I mean? So the division's tough. You got to take advantage of those games and those series when you play them. But like I said, I think it just comes down to starting pitching and bullpen pitching for that matter with them.
Yeah, I've been a big Tanner Houck guy the last couple of years, and I heard Cora say that he wants him in the rotation rather than the bullpen. So I'm interested to see how he does, because I always thought he was going to be a good bullpen arm. He's going to throw Lively out of the pen, but I'm going to be interested if he can be a lockdown starter for us. That's going to be huge.
Yeah, no doubt.
It also seems like, I don't know if you have any insight on this, but it seems like there's a new energy with Cora back at the helm. I've just noticed, I feel like I think it's a breath of fresh air from last year. I feel like people have a positive outlook going into the season. I don't know. I just feel like the players seem more relaxed. They seem a little more, it's a different energy. Would you agree? I feel like it's a different feel this year.
Yeah. I mean, Cora, he had his thing where, he took his lumps and he had to miss the year, but he's definitely the right guy for the job. He's a good players coach. Those guys love playing for him. They have a history of, winning the title, and it's unfortunate what happened, but you can't hold it against people forever. So I think at some point people got to get over it, and, whether it's the Astros guys and what's going on there. And, but they took their punishment as they should. And he's back, and I know he's a really good manager. He's a good baseball guy, and the guys seem to love to play for him. So, like you said, there's a good energy coming back, and I think rightfully so. So, I'm happy to see him back in town.
I'm fired up to see him back. I know this podcast is a supporter of Alex Cora. We don't hold anything again. He took his lumps. He's about to lead us to another World Series. Let's go. So moving on, today was a big day in the NFL. This is Monday. It was the first day of the legal tampering period, and boy, did the Patriots make a splash. They signed first, it started with yesterday. They traded away Cannon and swapped some picks and got moved up in the draft and saved some cap space. They re-signed Cam, which I know a lot of people were a little hesitant on, and they restructured a bunch of deals. They signed a bunch of guys. What's one thing that the Patriots have done that stood out, the best move you've seen them make so far? We can go around. Danny, what do you think?
I think their best move so far has definitely been moving up in the draft, I think, with the Cannon trade. I know they jumped a bunch of spots It makes their picks more valuable. And I know between now and the draft, they still have plenty of time. And if they want to make a run at the top 10, top 5, and maybe get their quarterback of the future, I think that Cannon trade is going to be a huge part of it because their trade picks are even that more valuable now.
Yeah, and also like that trade not only helped us move up and get higher draft capital, it helped us with free agency and clearing cap. Like we talked about it. I think the last couple of weeks, where like his contract was, if we got rid of him, we were going to get $7 million in cap space, $6-7 million. So we knew he was probably getting cut, especially after all the like offensive line trade moves that we've made. So I think this is the best thing. You turn a guy that you were going to cut anyway, you moved up in the draft, and you're creating more draft capital to possibly get that quarterback guy of the future. Getty, what do you think? You're a big Pats guy. What's the move that you think stands out?
Yeah, I mean, like you guys said, I'm fine with the Newton thing. You know, I mean, like I think he was a good soldier last year, and he took a pay cut. He obviously, likes it enough in New England. Belichick obviously likes him enough. Watching him throw, you can see he's a little limited, but competitive guy. And if they can move up and they can draft a quarterback, if that guy wins the job, he's the starter. If he's a year or two away, you get Newton for another year. I think they didn't really have any pieces around him. I mean, they're throwing to Bird and Jacoby Myers. Those two tight ends they got from UCLA, and then the Asiasi guy.
Yeah.
They didn't really see much time. So I think what's the guy's name? Janu Smith, or the tight end they got from the Tech today. I mean, he's a good young player. I think he had 6 touchdowns last year, whatever. That kind of gives him a little credibility at the tight end position. And for a guy who's not going to throw it down the field, it's good to have a reliable tight end, who knows the playbook, can make red zone plays and, kind of finish off scoring drives. And then I just saw it briefly, but the linebacker they got from the Ravens. If you look at his numbers from last year, he's a top 5 linebacker in the league.
Yeah, he was a stud. Looking at Smith before, the one thing I was going to say is he's also fast. Like, did you see any, like, there's a couple clips out there that I've seen, like, highlights, and he just, like, catches it, like, 10 yards down the field, and then just, like, he's fast. Like, the linebackers can't catch him. So I think that's going to help with Newton because, obviously, like you said, Newton's not really throwing the ball 50 yards. It's going to be a lot of dink and dunk, I think, going forward this year. So I think that's going to help out a lot. He's going to be quick. He has good hands. He was hurt for most of the year last year, and he still had 6 TDs. So, like, that, I think that's, like, a great move for the Pats. It's a good way. It started us off on, like, a high note. And the Cam Newton signing, like, I think it's – As the
anti-Stidham guy, what does it say about Jarrett Stidham that we're bringing back Newton?
I think, I said, I'll admit when I'm wrong, Danny Football. I think I was wrong about Jarrett Stidham. I think I was wrong. He hasn't got a fair chance, but I was wrong.
Jesus, man. If Bill's bringing him back and didn't even give him a start last season, this dude is trash at practice.
I honestly don't know what it is, but in Bill we trust. If Bill doesn't think he's good, then I don't think he's good either. But with Cam, I think it was smart. I was kind of like wasn't excited about it in the beginning, but I mean the guy's a veteran guy. He really didn't get an off season last year, like a preseason last year. So like I'll be interested to see how he reacts with weapons, and we're getting weapons in. We just signed Bourne and Aguilar, and hopefully we get Curtis Samuels. And I'll be interested to see with like a decent team around him, obviously with Smith, what he's able to do with a full offseason and preseason, getting ready for next year. So I'm excited. And like you said, Getty, the defense, they're just stacking up. They got that they got the pass rusher from Baltimore, and then they signed that corner. So I think that they're going to move Gilmore soon.
More draft capital, man. More draft capital.
That's right. Or they're going to trade him for I heard rumor that possible trade to the Bears for Allen Robinson.
I'd do that in a heartbeat.
I heard that's a possibility. So I would do that too. Or you try to restructure the deal. They're also doing a lot of restructures. Like they restructured Hightower's deal. and is creating a lot of cap space off of that, which I'm glad because the only other option was getting rid of Hightower, which I'm not ready to do yet. What's one guy that you guys want to see get signed? I have a guy. Yeah, the Pats. Who do you want the Pats to get? That's still out there.
I need to think about it.
Drew Brees. Danny Football is a big Drew Brees hater. He went through a.
Oh my God! The top. What was it? Top 10 thing? Top 5?
You said he's barely a top 10 quarterback of all time.
Barely, yeah. I'll stick by that. There are plenty of names that you can put. Yeah, you can put above Drew Brees.
I think you're a psychopath.
What does our guest think here?
Kenny, you break the tie. What's going on?
I mean, that's a tough question. My biggest thing, I don't know what's the guy they got Jalen Mills, the cornerback.
Yeah,
Taysom
Hill. No,
From
it's talking about
Philly?
the corner. The corner from Philly. Jalen Mills.
I want to see what he does with his hair because he's had that he dyes it green. Because he's in Philly, I want to know if he's going to do it red or blue or just let it go back on natural.
Silver.
Blue?
Silver like the helmet.
Silver like the helmet. Different every game, depending on the game. Matches jersey color.
Yeah, the Drew Brees top 10 thing. I mean, that's a tough debate. I mean, the guy had an incredible career. Did he win 1 or 2 Super Bowls?
One.
He's got the most passing yards all time.
Yep.
And he's got top 5 or touchdowns, or is he number 1 in that too?
I think he still is at number 1, but Brady. It was back and forth between. Brady's going to break it next year. It's like it was very close. I forget what it was off the top of my head.
I mean, stat-wise, yeah. I mean, if you're a championship guy, you got other guys out there. Peyton Manning's got what? 2?
2.
One of them, one of them.
3? Did he get 3?
The offense that got it. I think he had 1 in.
He won 1 in Indy.
1.
But I don't know. I'd say Drew Brees is the top 10 quarterback, but not top 5 probably.
Good enough for me.
Danny Football had some suspect people in front of him.
You had him as borderline number 2, dude.
No, I had him borderline 5. I had him like 5, 6.
He could be number 2.
No, I didn't say him 2.
Play back the tape, producer John.
Yeah, we need to go back at the tape. I said he's a borderline 5. Like I could see him 4, 5, 6 around there. Just based on stats, he won a championship. He won a big championship for New Orleans.
I do remember you saying based on stats, he could be 2.
Oof.
I think that's a lie.
I'll dig up the video.
Yeah, you're gonna have to dig it up. I think I remember it was borderline 5. It was like inside the 5 or just on the outside. I could see. I didn't.
He was a top 10 in the Futures League.
Say again.
Out of the 18. I said you're a top. Steve was a top 5 clubby in the Futures League, even though there's only 6.
Oh, he's my number 1 by far.
I'm the number 1. I'm the best. I'm retiring from being the clubby. I can't do no more, Getty. I can't do no more.
You made them. You hit the top, the mountaintop.
Yeah, there's only
Subway sandwiches, and then from there.
Someday, Tom Brady will understand what it's like to get there. I've reached it. I can't do no more. I really can't. I thought about it last year. There's really nothing else I can do.
Big Red knows when to walk away.
I was eating a Chick-fil-A sandwich last year saying, you know what? There's nothing else I can do. That's it.
That's incredible.
Kenny, what's your one guy that you want the Pats to go get? What's the one guy that you're that's still out there?
He said Drew Brees.
Drew Brees, retired. I think they need more help with from a fantasy perspective, I'm an offensive guy. I know they have, a ton of running backs. I think that tight end helps. The quarterback is either going to be, someone who's not here now or Cam Newton. I would like to see him get another wide receiver. Just how, the N'Keal Harry thing has kind of shaked out. He was a first rounder that hasn't turned into that. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think they need more passing offense. I don't think it has to be a crazy downfield guy. Isn't Nelson Aguilar more of like a deep threat?
I think he's more of a down. I think that's how they used him in Oakland. I think he's downfield.
Yeah, so I mean, like Cam Newton, if that's your guy, he's not throwing the ball more than 35, 40 yards down the field. So, I mean, someone who can kind of help Edelman and out and doesn't have to stretch it too much. But like I love the Allen Robinson call there. He's a target and completion weapon. He's every time you look at his stats, he had 12, 14 targets, 10, 12 catches. So somewhere where they can kind of just keep the drives going because the backs are really good. White, Burkhead. I love how that kid ran last year, the kid Harris from Alabama.
Yeah.
So I think they're all set there. It just becomes maybe another weapon or two.
If I can interrupt the podcast real quick.
Zach, I was just about to interrupt it. I found it too.
I have the footage.
I found it too.
I'm going to play it right now. Here we go.
Put it up to your mic. I was going to do the same exact thing.
Quarterbacks to ever play. I think he doesn't get enough credit because he played in the same era as Tom. Statistically, you could say he's the second greatest quarterback of all time.
I guess statistically he is, I guess.
I never said that. He said statistically he could be the second greatest quarterback of all time.
Steel trap. Steel trap.
What am I going to say? Statistically, I think he is. I'll stand by it.
Statistically, he could be, but name recognition and championships.
Imagine being that guy.
What do you say?
So Steve-O says he could be the second best quarterback of all time. So your kids are on the field after a game, you lose to Tampa Bay, Tom Brady, and he comes out and your kids are excited to catch passes from the number one quarterback of all time. You're standing there in Steve-O's mind, you're the number two quarterback of all time, and this guy comes out and your kids are all jacked up to get passes from Tom Brady in front of you.
Yeah, because he's the best. He's the best quarterback of all time. He's dad.
He's one better than dad.
He is the best.
Yeah.
For the free agents wise, there was one thing I noticed today. James White and Rex Burkhead are both free agents this year. So I like you said, I kind of want to see them sign one of those. I think we need James White. I'd love to see them sign James White. Rexy, I'm like, I'd love to see him, but it's more about James White because I think between Damian Harris, James White, and Sony, I think you can, I think you can get by. I think Rexy's like odd man out of that. The other guy I say is David Andrews. Like David Andrews, they need to re-sign. I was talking about it with Danny Football before.
Need him back.
You need to get him back. Other than that, like they agree to Dietrich Wise. I mean, some big guys on the defensive side that still are free agents is Lawrence Guy or John Simon, like those three guys. But they're kind of doing, like you said, Getty, they're kind of like adding a lot of pass rushers anyway in free agencies. I think the main guys from that free agent group that are left, I think James White and Dave Andrews are definitely two guys that I want to see them re-sign. And to match what you said, I think Curtis Samuels is a great guy to sign for wide receiver help. That's still a free agent because he's going to be
Juju.
You're a big Juju guy.
I love Juju when he's not on his phone.
When he's not dancing on
he's not TikToking on the logos.
I just think Curtis Samuels did a lot from running. He's did a lot of running of the ball too. He's short route. I think he's gonna help out with the like Getty said, short passing game, help Edelman out. So that's my guy at least. I hope Curtis Samuels from outside the team. That's my one guy.
I like that.
How do we feel about Toonie leaving?
I mean, I'm sad that he left, but I'm even sadder that he went to the Chiefs.
Yeah, that was the worst part about it.
It seems like it looked for a second like the Chiefs were crumbling and their offensive line was going to suck, and then they bring in Joe Toonie.
Well, I was going to say it looked like for a second the Patriots were going to somehow swoop in and get him. Like they were talking like both sides wanted to agree, and then all of a sudden it was like he signed with the Chiefs. It was that was the worst part about it was him signing with the Chiefs.
I thought we were going to see their offensive line completely cave, and then they got him.
This is definitely the best first day of free agency I've seen out of a Patriots team, Bill Belichick Patriots team. It's been awesome to watch. I mean, we're checking our phones to see what's going to be the next move, and I'm excited to see who else is coming on to the New England Patriots. Get the duck boats ready, as Danny Football
Fire them up.
says.
Get the gas in there. Let's go.
We want to move on. This is a very special show. We kind of talked about it before we started. It only happens once a year, and it's the beginning of March Madness. Getty said he had a little smart drink last night. You know, got a little liquid in him and lubed up and ready to go for this bracket. Danny Football's filled one out. Producer John even filled one out. We don't have time to go through all the whole bracket.
Should we do like Final Fours maybe? Elite Eights.
Well, first, what in your first round, is there any upset, like big upsets that you have going into the first round?
I have the classic 12/5. My big one is going to be Georgetown over Colorado. Patrick Ewing, baby. He's got the Hoyas back in town. He's ready to go.
Getty, do you have any? I know you briefly looked at it, but is there any big upset that you have going into it?
The two I liked. I mean, I like the champ week. You know what I mean? Kind of watching those games and getting to know different guys. But you know, I've listened to a few things. It hasn't been a complete wash. I've taken a look at it, but I like the UC Santa Barbara team. They're at 12. They're playing Creighton, who's kind of with the issues going on there. I mean, they just got pounded by Georgetown in the final. They had the drama going on, with their head coach and something he said. And the team I really like, I think they got a brutal draw. And I probably don't even know how to pronounce the name, the Abigail or whatever, Christian. They're playing Texas. They lead the country in turnovers forced per game. They're like an older group, play really good team defense. And I watched a couple of their games. And they're no joke. So I think Texas is really good. They just won the Big 12. So I think it's going to be a tough game, but I wouldn't be surprised if that game is one of those ones that comes down to the end. So UC Santa Barbara against Creighton and Abigail, or however you say it, Christian against Texas. Those are the two I like.
The couple upsets that I had were, and this is just from me going every year I kind of picked them because they were growing up one of my, I like their team. I have 11 over Syracuse over San Diego State. Syracuse always gets overlooked in these tournaments, but somehow they always kind of make a little run in it. I remember a couple years ago when they came off their suspension, everyone had them losing in the first round, and I was like, let's have them go to the Elite Eight, and they actually went even further. So I always pick Syracuse. The other one, which is it's kind of I don't have much confidence in, but we're going to go with it, is Iona over Alabama. The 15/2 upset.
Swing there. Huge swing.
Main reason, I almost went to Iona College. What did you say?
Did you like Rick Pitino?
I was gonna say, former Celtics coach.
Trash Celtics coach.
Terrible. Larry Bird's not walking through the door.
All time bad.
The reason being is I almost went to that school. That's I like Iona, and I got into them in high school. So whenever they're in the tournament, I always pick them to win the first round and then lose. But the other reason is I don't trust Alabama. Alabama football, I will trust to the end of the time. I do not trust Alabama basketball. I will not trust it. They are going to crumble. They're 1-3 against top 25 teams. I don't trust it. And if there's going to be a top team, top seed to lose,
man, easy.
No, I don't trust it. Again, those guys that are the one guys on the team, I think, they never go that far. So I'm going Iona, mainly because I almost went there and I like the school. But hey, if you want a nice little 15/2 upset, go ahead with them. I have Georgetown over Colorado too. I like that pick. Go ahead, Yeti.
Winthrop is good, really good. Winthrop's like a 25-1. They're playing Villanova, who the kid Gillespie's out. So I mean that could be another one. And then not to argue with you, just because I like to argue with you, but that San Diego State team is loaded. I would be surprised if Syracuse wins that game. Go ahead with your Iona thing. I'll let you live on that one for a couple more minutes before Saturday comes.
Let me enjoy it until they get blown out by Alabama. Yeah, I mean, Syracuse is like I said, it's mainly because I picked them every year to go, at least a couple rounds.
I hope
and they
Baylor,
also see.
Sorry, I just want to say I hope Baylor beats Hartford by 100 for keeping my Lowell Riverhawks out of the goddamn tournament. So lock that one in. Baylor by 100, and I want it. I want blood on that freaking court.
Would you have gone UMass Lowell over Baylor?
Yeah, you know me. I would have had to pick that game. I would have had to go UMass Lowell over Baylor in that one.
Who's everyone's Final Four? Who do you got in the Final Four? I can go first. I got Michigan, Kansas, and Wisconsin, Oklahoma State.
I got Kansas, Michigan, Arkansas, West Virginia.
Steve, say yours again.
Kansas, Michigan, and Wisconsin, Oklahoma State. I hate my bottom half of the bracket, but that's what I got.
Know who has a brutal draw is Illinois. That second game they're going to play Loyola Chicago, who's really good, or Georgia Tech, who just won the ACC tournament. It's a tough second game for a 1 seed.
Yeah, some of these teams got like an easy draw. Like I was looking at it, and it might just be like how I did it because the teams I picked, but Ohio State seems to have a pretty easy road. Like I don't like putting them far. Like they play who are they first? They play who did I just say? They play Oriole Roberts. Then they play Virginia
Oriole
Tech.
Roberts or the Oriole?
I can't understand what you're saying.
Oral Roberts.
All I heard, yeah, whatever it is. They play. They're gonna get blown out in the first round. Virginia Tech, Texas Tech. Like Texas Tech should be like I have them playing Texas Tech. I think I have them beating them too, and then I have them losing to Wisconsin. I hate that I have them in the Elite Eight. I hate everything about this. Should I pick Arkansas?
I like the Razorbacks.
I think I have them losing in the first round.
Yikes.
Want to hear mine, Steve-O?
I've been dying to hear it. What is it?
I'm gonna go looking at it. Gonzaga.
Oh my God! Might as well
Alabama.
just give whoever. You might as well give the money up right now. You're picking Gonzaga to go to the Final Four.
Gonzaga, Alabama. So much for Arizona. And then Baylor and San Diego State.
Wow.
I'm all against you.
You're all against me. Thanks, Yeti. Sounds like another
Illinois
day.
San Diego State beat Syracuse. They beat West Virginia. Houston's unproven. And then I don't think Illinois even gets to the Elite Eight, but who knows? I mean, that draw is brutal for them. They either Loyola or Georgia Tech, and they're going to play probably Oklahoma State or Tennessee. I mean, Illinois has a brutal draw for a 1 seed.
Yeah, they have a pretty bad draw. Who did you have in their Final Four? Not the top, the bottom.
Gonzaga, Alabama, and then it was
the second two. What was your second two? Did you say Illinois?
Baylor and San Diego State.
I don't even know. I had Baylor going far, but I don't even know where I put San Diego State.
You had them losing.
You had them losing to Syracuse and Buddy
that's right. That's right. How come you're going all against me right now?
I mean, that's just
everything.
I'm not going to take an ETC school whose best scorer is the coach's son.
Ooh. This
isn't Doug Braden.
Damn.
I'm telling you right now, the Syracuse is going to go at least one round. I think
at least one round.
I have them losing in the next round, but all right, we'll have to see. Actually, John, you can pipe in on this. What's your Final Four?
I haven't heard my name called.
I'm calling it now.
My Final Four.
Producer John, what's your Final Four?
Producer John, you're up.
Thank you for asking, Danny Football.
You're welcome.
Gonzaga, Florida State, Villanova, Illinois.
Ooh. Against the grain.
It could totally change tomorrow, though. I'm not very confident.
Producer John could wake up and be like, you know what? No.
Genuinely.
Gonzaga has cost me so many brackets before. I will never pick them to win. Like I've never. They always on me, and it just causes nothing but problem. And they don't just lose; they just ruin a whole side of the bracket.
That's why we all need to ride Yukon boys.
I for some reason I rode Yukon pretty far. I have them going pretty decently, which I don't understand why either.
I have them.
Because you haven't beaten Iona.
That is why I had them beaten Iona in the second round. Wow, Yukon has a pretty easy ride, huh? They get to play Iona in the second round.
Abigail Christian in the third.
Yeah. No, I had them playing BYU. Which again, I could change that. I could, like John said, I could wake up, change that.
Yukon. Where's
John? What's your one upset?
Oh, go ahead. No. Let John go. This is John's goddamn time. Let John go.
Yeah,
I got Colgate over Arkansas.
Ooh.
And tell them the reason why.
Because they're toothpaste.
There it is. A lot of people are going to choose that. And of course, the question that everyone has: who do you have winning the bracket? Who do you have winning the?
Producer John, go first.
Me? I don't want to say. I'm embarrassed to say. I gotta change it. I got Illinois, but I've been talked out of it.
Illinois is really good. I just hate their draw.
All right, talk back into it.
That's all it took. Daddy, what do you got?
I'm going Michigan, man. Go blue. I'm going Michigan. Ride them all the way.
Getty?
I haven't officially done my bracket yet, but I like Baylor. I think they're deep. I think they're athletic. I'm just going to play, a handful of times this year. And I know it's Baylor. It's hard to take them, but I don't think they're a fluke this year.
It is very hard to take Baylor. I like them though. I like there's one of the teams. I always have a couple teams that are kind of outside the normal teams that are really good. I like them, but I'm going Michigan too.
Woo, let's go.
By the way,
hail to the
I
victors.
hate myself for picking them. But I have Michigan. So
hopefully they can beat Iona in the Elite Eight.
You don't have to worry about that. UConn's going to blow them out. I told you, just one round victory. That's all they have, and they'll lose right after that.
That's fair.
Hey, all it needs is they just need to have one day to catch fire. And Alabama, I don't trust them. Rick Pitino, he won a couple games for the Celtics.
I'll side bet you. I would side bet you $20 that Alabama scores 100 points that game. It's gonna be 100 to 72.
Damn. Take that action, Steve.
Wait,
Let's
did you say that they can? You said that they got to score 100 to 72 to 100. They're gonna win 100 to 72.
Yeah, Alabama,
I cut out when you were talking.
Alabama can score 100 points that game.
Hey, all I'm saying is I own.
Take that action. Let's go.
I think I have to take it. I'll take it. I think I like it. I like that. They're 1-3 again. I hate Alabama in this situation. We'll talk after the show.
Yeah.
Getty's trying to make some of his money back from all of his betting ventures.
I've had horrible luck with Steve-O. I had I lost the week 1 of his Survivor pool. I had Houston against Jacksonville. Jacksonville's only win of the year. Week 1. I'm out of that. And then for the Super Bowl scores, I had fucking 1-9 and 5-6. And I was like, Steve-O, this is crazy, man. I'm like, how do you pick this? He's like, it's all random. Look at his numbers. He got 3-7, 0-3. Get out of town.
Bad numbers. I had one set of good ones. I bought 5 squares. That's why I had some good numbers. I had one good one. All the rest were terrible. I didn't even win. I didn't even come close. I hate squares. I'll never do squares again. I hate running squares. Squares is the most stressful thing to run.
I would never run squares. That seems so.
Yeah, I had to buy 2 more squares to save you from redoing the whole thing.
You didn't have to. I would have just sold them to someone else.
Oh,
I was looking. Yeah, no, whatever.
There was people I turned away to buy squares.
Yeah,
You didn't. I wish you
would have
told
to
me
figure.
that was save $40. Give me it back. Give me it now.
No. I won. This made me think because you were asking for money back. This made me think. I won fantasy football. Remember that league I told you I won in fantasy football? 2 guys didn't pay their buy-ins, and I got shorted $100 for winning the league.
Yeesh.
How bad is that? I'm ticked.
Brutal. Yeah.
I'm still.
Sounds like you got to pay those guys a visit.
Just keep it with the March Madness theme. We're gonna do our. We have a segment called Picks of the Week where we each pick a game each week, but we're gonna do a March Madness. So this is the Picks of the Week.
Picks of the week.
So Danny Football is my butt in Picks of the Week this season for basketball. I did win the football season. I'm holding on to that victory. But Danny Football, who do you got for week 1? No, we're just doing first round because
Week 1.
I know we normally week 1. First round of tournament play because normally we do Wednesday games, but it's on Friday is the first round.
I was going to go UConn over Maryland, but I'm going to go Baylor over Hartford because I want to see Hartford get stomped into the floor. So I'm going to go Baylor over Hartford.
Getty, you can pick any game in the first round. What's your
With the spread?
No, just straight up. Who do you think is going to win?
I mean, Baylor over Hartford, that's not even fair. They're like 30-point spread.
They kept my school out, man. They kept my school out. I'm not happy with them.
For Danny
It's
Football.
personal.
This is how he's gaining up a big record. I pick all the hard ones. I pick close
if
games.
we need to go through these basketball games, man, I've been picking up some good games.
You've been picking up some good ones. I'm just messing with you. This Baylor one is pretty bad, but what?
Baylor over Hartford.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
I will say I don't want to give like a lock. I'll give the decent one that I consider a lock. I started earlier. Oh, it's a late one Saturday. I think Oregon rolls VCU in the first round, 7 versus 10.
I like that one.
With that 10 seed. Yeah, I think Oregon rolls.
Peyton Pritchard.
For
Oregon Duck. Yeah, for one that's
Iona
close.
over Alabama. Iona.
I repeat, Iona over Alabama. Just to be, I'm going to double down. I'm going Syracuse over San Diego State. Getty doesn't believe in them.
I like that.
You're over to.
I like it. Enough to do it, but now I know why Danny Football dominates you in the year. He just took the Yankees over Hartford Little League in a 7-inning game
Over the Hartford Yard Goats.
A wise man once said, "Here, I can't even say the quote. Never mind, forget it. Heroes get remembered, but legends never die." That's what I was going to say. Legends never die. I pick close ones.
I'd rather live long enough to become the villain.
We're just going to go through movie
All the movie quotes, yeah. Yo, Adrian.
Let's bring in a Rocky one. Usually we reference
I just
Rocky
gave it to you.
once.
I just gave it to you. Yo, Adrian.
What was it? Yo, Adrian? No, that's a. I'd like to look at, if I may. I look at Iona like Rocky in Rocky 1 when he was playing against Apollo Creed. There it is. We reference Rocky at least once in every show. I'm excited. March Madness is like the best time of the year, I think. It's stunk not having it last year. So I'm looking forward to having games on all. Like that Friday, Saturday is like the best 2 days of like sports, I think, each year. Like it's games all day long. In the high school I work at, during lunch we throw on games on like the big projector so people can watch the games. I'm usually flipping on at lunch and like breaks looking at some games. So I'm looking forward to it. So I think it's time we get to our last segment of the night. we're going to go with the people's topic.
It's the people's topic, baby! People's topic.
So for people's topic, remember, you can write in on our Instagram and Twitter at Big Red Zone. Make sure you hit us with a follow. Hit us with the subscribe button and hit the like button on this video as well as our other videos. Remember, you can write in each week, whatever you want us to talk about, questions, whatever you want. And without further ado, producer John, take it away.
At eFits94 on Twitter, does Bill have something up his sleeve for the QB spot, or is Cam still the man?
I think he has to have another plan, whether it's through the draft or.
I think he's going to draft someone, but I don't think it's like a thing up his sleeve. I think Cam's the guy for this year, and then we draft a guy for the future. Yeti?
Oh, I agree. I think that beside the amount of money they gave him, they're going out and spending his money. I think there's something there that they like with him, whether it's, he was a professional. I saw his stuff. The guy's an animal. He's in the gym all the time. You look at that. They say he gets there, one of the first guys, 5:36 in the morning some of those days. So I think the fit is good from like that standpoint. I don't think it's answered. I think it's eventually a bandy. But the guy's a winner. He won national championship at Auburn. He won a Super Bowl. Did he win a Super Bowl with Carolina?
No, he lost.
He lost the Super Bowl.
He didn't jump on that fumble.
Oh yeah, against
Peyton Manning's Broncos.
Yeah. So he has a history of winning. The health thing. I like his competitiveness. I like Cam Newton in terms of like just watching him. If he can be healthy, I don't think he's not the answer long term. But can they win with him? Yeah, I think they can. But I think Bill has a plan. At least I think he was a little humbled by what happened with Brady winning without him and how bad it went. This year by not having any weapons or money to spend. But like people said, I just don't want to be a spot where people came to New England to play with Tom, not for Bill. If that's the case, then what are we doing here long term? So just get back to that, winning culture. A year off, it's not the worst thing, but I think it's somewhere in between. You know what I mean?
I agree. I think you're right.
I don't like this next question. From
that's nice.
P. Willis 17.
Paige.
Who is the sexiest Celtics player?
Oh my God!
It's got to be Tatum or Taco.
Taco, yeah, Taco's a good one.
Paige, you got to come up with some better questions here.
The sexiest Celtics player.
Current?
Damn.
If it's not current, we got to go with Larry.
Larry with the mullet, yeah.
Larry Bird. Oh, that would go
Shaq.
Larry
We can technically
Bird.
go Shaq.
We can use Shaq.
This is such a ridiculous question. Getty, do you have any input on this one?
Nothing comes to the top of my mind.
I'll go Peyton. No, I want to go Rob Williams. I love Rob Williams.
Ooh.
Good looking kid.
He's a good looking fellow. Jaylen Brown is a handsome young man. Marcus Smart's a handsome fellow.
Nah.
You're just going to start rating them on the now?
Good question. Kevin _Curly.
Oh, no.
How many players are the Patriots away from being in the Super Bowl, and who are those players? You can only have a certain number of players on the field, so I think they're pretty...
I think he's looking for more like impact guys, like position-wise. Like
no.
16.
Right. Call the call. Here we go.
I think for impact guys away, I think they, like Getty said earlier, I think they still need another wide receiver,
quarterback.
A quarterback. Like, it depends on what Cam sees. Like, I'm interested to see what he has for the full offseason and a full preseason for his belt, what he's going to do. Because we were talking about them before he got COVID. We were talking about them winning the Super Bowl last year. Like, he looked really good the first couple weeks. So interested to see what it's like next year. But realistically, I think they need that quarterback and that another receiver. Defense, it looks pretty stacked, especially after today. They got a lot of great guys on defense.
Wide receiver and quarterback.
Getty?
No, I agree with you guys. You made a good point with, before he had COVID. I mean, they were, they should have won in Seattle. They would have, 3-1 start. We don't know where to go from there, but I mean, everyone was all on board there. And then once he got sick, they should have beat the Bills at the Bills. They were driving down to win the game. That was a swing game. I think the Bills were like 5-2, Pats were 3-4 at the time. But the biggest thing for me is this division is kind of continuing to grow, so they got to keep up with the rest. Before it was a joke, the Pats win every year, and now the Bills are here to stay. I mean, Josh Allen seems to be the real deal. Flores doing a good job in Miami. They keep signing guys. And then, the Jets got a second pick in the draft. You don't know what they're going to do. They just got Corey Davis today. So I think the division's building up, so the Patriots kind of got to, keep pace and take back over the reign there.
They almost beat KC last year without Cam Newton. So I think they're close. They're not as far away as people think, I think, in my opinion.
K_Palladino. Are we still drafting a tight end?
No, not now.
Not now. I don't think so. I love Kyle Pitts, but you need a quarterback now at that first. But now that you got Smith.
Yeah, bringing in Smith, it's over.
At BFried7, thoughts on what the Pats do in the draft with their recent... Oh, this is kind of a general question that you kind of went over, but thoughts on what the Pats do in the draft with their recent moves in free agency?
I'd like to think they're trying to move up if they're making that Cannon trade, but as we know, Bill doesn't like to do that, so I'm not really sure what his MO is right now, but...
He also doesn't like to spend a lot of money, and he's done that today.
That's a good point. Maybe this is when Bill turns it all around.
I think they have to be looking at a quarterback, right?
Completely changes his MO.
They have to be looking at a quarterback first round. Knowing that they'll draft a D3 like linebacker to play special teams with their first round. But no, they'll trade back into the second round and then they'll draft a third round linebacker. Getty, who do you think? Because we didn't really talk much about the draft. Is there anyone that you think the Patriots are going to go after, or do you think they're going quarterback?
I think they're going to have to go quarterback at some point. I kind of like that kid from North Dakota State.
Trey Lance.
I saw something. Yeah, I saw something in the fall. They played one game, or the one game he played. I know FCS is doing spring stuff, and he's not playing, I believe. But his top speed was like a 22 point something on one of his runs, and it was a top 10 like number. So Belichick seems to like to think outside the box a little bit. But I think that kid, I don't think Wilson will be around or whatever it is with those top guys, Fields and Lawrence, obviously. But I wouldn't mind, having him take a chance. But I could get behind that pick. But he'll probably be the fourth or fifth to go. Mac Jones, he seems like a good system quarterback, played for Saban. So one of those two guys. But I would like to see them kind of build a future at that position versus kind of putting the Band-Aid on, 1 year at a time.
Steve, who's the last question from? Do you know?
I have a good feeling it's Joseph Celia.
Joseph_Celia asks, if the Celtics became football players, what positions would you have them play?
Getty, Joseph Celia is our number one fan. He writes in every week. Big fan.
Good hearted information.
Rob Williams would be my tight end. Smart. A linebacker.
Safety? I put him at safety. Okay. I think Smart's a safety.
Who's your quarterback? Tatum, I guess.
Tatum would probably be the quarterback.
Brad Stevens at QB.
Get out of here. Jaylen Brown would be a wide receiver, I think.
Yeah.
Taco would be a goal line tight end, just flipping off.
Imagine sign Taco up for to be your other tight end. No one's stopping him.
Yeah, if run a dual tight end set with Robin Taco, you'll be all set. Yeah, good to go.
Jeff Teague would be the bus driver.
Oh my God. Peyton Pritchard would be like an Edelman,
corner,
Edelman over the middle.
Safety. I mean, slot guy. Good question. Joseph Celia, always out of the box thinking with his questions. Getty, do you have anyone?
I think Naismith could be.
Go ahead.
Naismith as N'Keal Harry, first rounder that doesn't play.
No, that's Romeo Langford.
Oh, yeah.
Romeo Langford's played, I think, the same amount of games as Naismith in his career. Probably more. Naismith's played more games than Romeo Langford.
Grant Williams, dude. Grant Williams is a tank.
Grant Williams could be. I put him on my O line.
I put him at fullback.
Fullback. All right. I don't hate it.
We got options on this.
Tice, backup center.
Yeah.
Just more of the same. Tristan Thompson's a tank. He could be.
He's a feisty guy. Physical man.
Well, thank you for writing in, everyone. A lot of people's topics today. Remember, you can write in every week on our Instagram and Twitter at Big Red Zone. Hit us with a follow. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. And make sure you tell a friend. My thanks to Getty for coming on this week. Always a pleasure, Getty. I can't wait to see you this summer. We'll get a we'll get a nice Subway sub when you come up.
Can't wait. Miss those days.
Danny Football, as always, producer John. Have a great week, everyone.